If you spend like more than 5 minutes on social media these days, you are practically guaranteed to stumble into this incredibly specific, highly curated corner of the internet.
Oh, absolutely. You literally cannot escape it right now.
Right. It's wild. People are just staring into their front-facing cameras, applying their, insanely expensive skincare and chanting things like, I am a lucky girl, everything works out for me.
The inescapable rise of lucky girl syndrome.
Yes. The universe is conspiring to make me rich, hot, and successful, and they say it with so much conviction.
It's genuinely fascinating to watch. And, I mean, people really believe it.
They do. It's like people are treating the universe like it's a cosmic Amazon Prime account.
That's such a perfect way to put it.
You just close your eyes, visualize a promotion, mentally hit add to cart, and then just sit back and wait for the delivery driver to drop it on your doorstep.
Right, just waiting for the goods to arrive.
Exactly. But looking at our study materials for today, this isn't some brand new Gen Z internet phenomenon. It's really just a glossy aesthetic rebrand of a much, much older concept.
Oh, totally. I mean, it's identical to the craze we saw back in, 2006? With that mega hit book and documentary, The Secret.
Oh, wow. Yeah, The Secret was huge.
It was everywhere. And even The Secret was just a repackaging of the New Thought movement from way back in the 19th century.
Yeah, the 19th century, really.
Back then, figures like Phineas Quimby were pushing the exact same idea. This concept that human thoughts can physically heal the body and literally attract wealth out of thin air.
So it's the exact same product, just with a modern, TikTok-friendly update.
Exactly. The packaging changes, but the core product remains completely unchanged.
And people are buying that product in droves. Which brings us to today. Welcome to the Make It Make Sense podcast.
Glad to be here, as always.
Today, we are taking a really deep look into a fascinating stack of sources, including a recent major university study, historical texts, and even some contemporary sports psychology.
It is a massive topic.
It really is. Our mission today is to figure out the actual psychology behind manifestation culture. Like, is it pure magical thinking, or is there a hard neurological science explaining why people swear this stuff works?
And I think we really have to start with the sheer scale of this belief, because it's not just a fringe internet thing.
Right. It's way bigger than that.
That recent university study we looked at found something genuinely staggering. Over 1/3 of the people they surveyed explicitly endorsed these manifestation beliefs.
Over a third. That is insane.
Right. Over 1/3 of the population genuinely believes they can cosmically attract success simply through positive self-talk and symbolic actions.
That is a massive chunk of society operating on the belief that they can, literally think a new car into existence.
It really is.
So to make it make sense, we have to look at the psychological environment that breeds this kind of thinking. Like, why the sudden massive surge in lucky girl syndrome right now?
Well, you have to look at the psychological baseline of the average person today. I mean, think about it.
We're all stressed.
Exactly. We are constantly bombarded with economic uncertainty, massive layoffs, skyrocketing housing costs, global instability.
Just bad news all the time.
The world feels incredibly chaotic right now, and human beings are neurologically hardwired to reject chaos. We crave agency.
Right, we need to feel like we're in charge.
Exactly. We need to believe we have some hand on the steering wheel of our own lives, even when we don't.
It makes me think of being a nervous passenger on an airplane during, terrible turbulence.
Oh, that's a great analogy.
Like, you see people gripping the armrests until their knuckles turn white, just physically bracing themselves.
Just sweating, holding on for dear life.
Right, and gripping an armrest does absolutely nothing to keep a multi-ton commercial jet in the air.
Obviously not.
But the physical action gives the brain a false sense of input. It's an illusion of control. Manifesting kind of feels like the psychological version of gripping the airplane armrest.
That is exactly the mechanism at play. And it ties directly into psychologist Melvin Lerner's just world theory.
Oh, I was reading about that. The idea that the universe is fair.
Right. Lerner proposed that humans have a profound fundamental need to believe we live in an orderly, safe, and just world. A world where good things happen to good people and bad things happen to bad people.
Which obviously isn't always true.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When the world constantly proves that it isn't just like when hardworking people lose their jobs and bad actors get rich, it creates a massive psychological crisis.
And that crisis is cognitive dissonance, right?
Spot on.
I was reading through the notes on Leon Festinger's work on this, and his study from the 50s completely blew my mind. He actually infiltrated a UFO cult.
Yes, the Doomsday Cult study. It's a classic.
It's wild. This cult believed the world was going to end on a highly specific date. And when the apocalypse didn't happen, the cult members didn't say, wow, we were wrong, let's go home.
Nope, they did the exact opposite.
They doubled down. They became even more extreme in their beliefs.
Because cognitive dissonance isn't just a mild annoyance, you know. It is a profound physiological discomfort. It's literally the mental equivalent of physical pain.
Wait, really? It actually hurts.
In a neurological sense, yes. Your brain perceives it as a severe threat. For those cult members, admitting they had thrown away their lives, their money, their reputations for a lie was psychologically unbearable.
So they just invented a new reality to cope.
Exactly. To relieve that excruciating tension, the brain simply creates a new narrative. Our profound faith convinced the aliens to spare the Earth. The dissonance is resolved, and they get to be the heroes.
Wow. Okay, so if we map that onto the lucky girl chanting in her mirror.
Right, let's bring it back to today.
If you are drowning in student debt, incredibly stressed out, and facing a totally broken housing market, accepting the reality that the economic system is heavily flawed is terrifying.
It makes you feel utterly powerless.
Right. So instead of sitting in that pain, your brain soothes the cognitive dissonance by adopting the belief, I am a money magnet. The universe is just preparing me for massive wealth.
Yes. You regain the illusion of control. And that illusion is a highly effective survival mechanism. It keeps people moving forward when reality feels crushing.
Which makes total sense, but avoiding that psychological pain doesn't just make you feel better in the moment, right? I mean, it literally rewires what your brain allows you to see in the real world.
It absolutely does. Which explains why so many people swear manifestation actually produces tangible results.
Right, because if you look in the comments of those videos, the success stories are everywhere. People claiming they, manifested a dream apartment or a massive pay raise or a specific romantic partner.
They firmly believe it worked.
But if they aren't actually tacking into a cosmic frequency, how are they getting these physical results? Because clearly something is happening.
The answer lies in your brainstem, specifically in a network of neurons called the reticular activating system, or the RAS.
The RAS. Okay, break that down for me.
So at any given second, your brain is bombarded with millions of bits of sensory data. Colors, sounds, conversations, physical sensations.
Just overwhelming noise.
Exactly. If your conscious mind tried to process all of it, you would literally short circuit. So the RAS acts as a highly ruthless bouncer at a club.
A bouncer. I like that.
Yeah, filters out 99% of reality as background noise and only lets in the information it deems critical to your current focus.
Oh, wow. Which completely changes how you experience reality.
Entirely.
I was actually trying to explain the RAS to a friend, and I realized it is literally the biological equivalent of a social media algorithm.
Oh, that is a perfect comparison.
Right. Like, if you are scrolling on your phone and you linger on a video of a golden retriever for, 3 seconds too long, the algorithm takes note.
And suddenly your entire feed is dogs.
Nothing but dogs. The dogs were always on the platform, but now your feed is specifically curated to show them to you.
And your brain is doing that exact same algorithmic sorting with opportunities.
No way. So it just pushes things to the front of your mind.
Yes. If you decide you are going to buy a bright yellow Jeep, you prime your RAS. Suddenly, the bouncer starts letting yellow Jeeps into your conscious awareness.
You see them everywhere. On the highway. In parking lots.
In background shots of movies. The number of Jeeps didn't cosmically multiply, obviously. Your brain just stopped filtering them out.
Okay, so when someone is doing their morning routine, chanting mantras about career success and wealth, their RAS is continually prioritizing that specific goal.
Precisely. They suddenly notice a flyer for a networking event they would have walked right past a month ago.
Or they catch a passing comment from a coworker about a job opening.
Exactly. A comment their brain previously would have dismissed as irrelevant noise. They think the universe magically delivered an opportunity, but in reality, they just actively curated their own cognitive algorithm to spot the opportunity that was already there.
That is mind-blowing, but noticing the opportunity is really only half the equation, right? Because it's what happens after you notice it that actually seals the deal.
Right. You still have to act on it.
And if you genuinely believe you are a lucky girl and that the universe wants you to have this job, you are going to walk into that interview completely differently.
Oh, absolutely. Your entire demeanor shifts,
You aren't desperate. Your posture is better. Your micro expressions are more relaxed. You just speak with this natural, unforced confidence.
which heavily influences the outcome. I mean, confident, relaxed people are statistically far more likely to get hired.
That makes total sense.
And this is actually the core mechanism of cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. It's a scientifically backed framework proving that changing your internal thought patterns changes your external behaviors.
So you aren't bending reality with magical energy.
No, you are changing your mindset, which physically alters your behavior, which then directly changes how other people respond to you.
You know, if you are listening to this right now, like on your commute or while doing dishes, think about a time you walked into a social event completely expecting to have a terrible time.
We've all been there.
Right. Expecting people to ignore you? You probably stood in the corner, crossed your arms, gave short answers, and guess what?
People ignored you.
People ignored you. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
The placebo effect operates on the exact same principle. If a person strongly believes a medical treatment will work, their brain often triggers physiological changes that initiate real healing.
That is wild.
Belief alone can unconsciously dictate actions and internal states that drastically increase your chances of success.
Okay, so priming your brain's algorithm and changing your behavior makes perfect sense. But the tools people are using to prime themselves are getting incredibly high-tech now. And I think this is where things get a little tricky.
You mean the digital vision boards?
Yes. I fell down such a rabbit hole looking at platforms like Vision Boards AI. People are paying actual money to have artificial intelligence generate ultra-realistic fake photos of their future selves.
Oh, it is a massive industry right now.
It's crazy. You type in your specific goals, and the AI generates a photorealistic image of you standing in the photography studio you want to open or sitting in the driver's seat of your dream car.
Or even having lost 20 pounds. It looks exactly like you.
And the reviews are full of people saying, I stared at this AI photo of my future business every day, and 3 months later, I signed a commercial lease.
Well, from a psychological standpoint, that visual repetition is highly effective.
Really? Even though it's fake?
Yes. The sports psychology journals we looked at show that visualization isn't just new age fluff. It relies on actual neuroplasticity.
So it changes the brain structure.
Exactly. When a professional skier vividly visualizes a downhill run, the motor cortex in their brain actually fires. The muscles experience microcontractions.
Wait, their muscles actually flex?
Just slightly, but yes.
Hmm.
The brain doesn't completely differentiate between a vividly imagined action and a physical one. Olympic athletes use this to literally wire their nervous system for success before they ever step onto the snow.
That is incredible. But okay, there has to be a dopamine trap here, right?
Ah, yes. The dopamine trap.
Because dopamine is the molecule of motivation, right?
Oh.
It drives us to seek rewards.
Correct.
So if I spend an hour looking at a hyper-realistic AI photo of myself already living in a mansion, doesn't my brain get the massive dopamine spike of having already achieved the goal?
It does. Your brain gets the reward without doing the work.
And if I get the chemical reward up front just from looking at my phone, doesn't my motivation to do the actual hard work just plummet?
That is the exact trap. And it is arguably the biggest pitfall of this entire manifestation trend. You are describing the dark side of the optimism bias.
The optimism bias.
Yes.
Hmm.
Human beings are naturally wired to be optimistic because it prevents us from falling into despair. But when optimism is artificially spiked with unearned dopamine, it breeds complacency.
Because the universe isn't going to automatically deposit $1 million into my checking account just because I made a really aesthetic Pinterest collage.
Right. It takes actual effort. Psychologist Carol Dweck's extensive research on the growth mindset proves that genuine, lasting success requires embracing the struggle.
Which people don't want to do.
Of course not. It requires learning, failing, and adapting. Manifestation often sells the illusion that if you just believe hard enough, the struggle disappears.
Which is just not how life works.
Not at all. As the old business adage goes, visualization is just daydreaming with a purpose. It primes your RAS, but it does not replace the sweat equity.
Right. The people who actually succeed after making those vision boards are the ones who use the image as an anchor.
Exactly.
Like when they are exhausted at 2 a.m. trying to write a business plan, they look at the AI photo of the studio to remind themselves why they're working so hard. They don't use the photo as an excuse to go back to sleep.
Exactly. And this pivot From using optimism as a tool for resilience to using it as a replacement for action is where that recent university study takes a very concerning turn.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that data, because that got dark.
When optimism overrides logic, we cross the line into dangerous territory.
Because the researchers didn't just find the manifestors feel more confident, they actually developed a manifestation scale to measure these beliefs against real-world outcomes, and the correlations were incredibly bleak.
Very bleak. The data showed that individuals who score highly on the manifestation scale are statistically far more drawn to highly risky investments.
Like volatile cryptocurrency or meme stocks.
Yes, they possess an inflated belief that they could achieve unlikely levels of wealth insanely quickly.
Which is terrifying.
And crucially, they are significantly more likely to have experienced severe financial distress or literal bankruptcy.
Which mechanically makes total sense if you think about it.
How so?
Well, if you genuinely believe that the universe has preordained your wealth, your prefrontal cortex, the part of brain responsible for critical thinking, risk assessment, and logic, it basically just powers
It
down.
goes on vacation.
Literally. You
Yeah.
ignore every red flag because you're like, hey, I chanted my wealth mantras this morning, so this random crypto coin must be the universe delivering my millions.
It completely bypasses critical thinking. When you believe the universe will unconditionally provide, engaging in logical risk management feels like you are showing a lack of faith.
Right. You're ruining the vibe.
Exactly. You actively suppress your own common sense to maintain that high vibrational mindset. But there is a secondary implication to the law of attraction that is arguably much darker than bankruptcy.
The victim blaming.
Yes.
I was reading through the underlying philosophy of The Secret and the New Thought movement, and it is inescapable.
It's built right into the core of it.
If the core rule of the universe is that your thoughts directly create your physical reality, that positive thoughts physically materialize wealth and perfect health, then the inverse absolutely must be true.
Exactly. You are forced to believe that anyone facing poverty, a terrible accident, or a chronic illness brought it upon themselves by harboring low-frequency or negative thoughts.
It's an incredibly toxic framework. I mean, it completely erases the reality of systemic inequality.
It completely ignores it.
It ignores inherited wealth, privilege, and just plain old random bad luck. Like if you get a flat tire on the way to work, the universe isn't punishing you for feeling anxious that morning. There was just a nail in the road.
Right. And we have to ask why people are so quick to victim blame in the first place. It isn't because human beings are inherently malicious.
No, of course not.
It ties right back to Melvin Lerner's just world theory we discussed earlier. Victim blaming is a psychological shield.
Okay, explain that a bit more.
Well, if a random tragic accident can paralyze a perfectly healthy person, that implies the world is terrifyingly unpredictable, which means it could happen to me.
Oh, wow. So that creates anxiety.
Massive anxiety.
Yeah.
But if I can convince myself that the sick person manifested their illness through bad vibes, then I am completely safe. Because I do my daily affirmations. I have good vibes.
That is so dark. It is literally a defense mechanism to protect your own sense of safety.
It is entirely about self-preservation. But the cost of that shield is this severe culture of toxic positivity.
Where you can't ever be sad.
Right. It forces people to suppress authentic human emotion because they become terrified that if they feel a natural wave of grief, sadness, or anxiety, they're going to accidentally manifest a tragedy into their lives.
Which is just an exhausting way to live. You cannot outthink a broken healthcare system, and you certainly cannot outvibe a global economic recession.
You really can't.
So bringing all of this together for everyone listening, what are we actually looking at here? We have this massive viral trend of people chanting in mirrors and building AI vision boards. Some are going bankrupt, but some are genuinely getting the job and signing the lease.
Well, if we strip away the magical thinking, manifestation in its pop culture form is essentially spiritual woo wrapped around heavily validated psychological concepts.
It is not a cosmic vending machine.
No, it's not. But when you pair the core concepts with actual physical effort, tools like cognitive reframing, CBT, and RAS priming genuinely work. They actually change your brain's filter and alter your behavior.
So it's really about taking your agency back without completely losing your grip on reality.
Exactly.
Like, make the vision board, do the positive self-talk before the big meeting, prime your brain's algorithm to look for the open doors instead of the locked ones, walk into the room with the posture of someone who already belongs there.
All of that is highly effective.
But just don't forget that once you notice the open door, you still have to put one foot in front of the other and walk through it.
Perfectly said. But, as we close out today's conversation, there is one final, really provocative thought hidden in the research that I think we need to address.
Oh, yeah. Let's hear it.
We spent this entire time dissecting the mechanisms of how to use manifestation to get what you want. But psychoanalyst Karen Horney, who wrote extensively about human neurosis, raises a much deeper question about the what.
Oh, right. I was looking at the notes on Horny's theories regarding society's shoulds. It's fascinating.
It really is. Horney argued that from a very young age, we are burdened by external demands. Who we should be, what our bodies should look like, how much money we should make to be considered successful.
Just constant pressure.
She believed that we construct this ideal self based entirely on the expectations of capitalism and social media. And in the process, we become completely alienated from our real self, our authentic core desires.
And the pressure to constantly live up to an ideal self that you didn't even design is utterly exhausting. You just end up running on a treadmill to chase a life you don't even actually like.
Precisely. So maybe the most profound value of a manifestation practice, whether it's chanting in a mirror or taking 20 minutes to sit quietly and curate a vision board, isn't about sending a magical frequency out of the cosmos.
It's about taking a pause.
Yes, maybe its true power is that it provides a rare, quiet moment to cut through the relentless noise of modern life.
That is such a good point. We've spent this whole time talking about using manifestation to get what you want. But the real question is, are the things you are trying to manifest actually what you want, or just what society told you to want?
Exactly.
Stripping away the shoulds to finally listen to your own voice is incredibly rare. It's less about asking the universe for a favor and more about finally having an honest conversation with yourself.
A conversation where you finally give yourself permission to figure out what your authentic life actually looks like, completely independent of the algorithm.
I absolutely love that. Keep questioning the trends, keep analyzing human behavior, and keep making it make sense. And the next time you see someone chanting into their phone on your feed, maybe just remember that we are all just trying to feel a little more in control of the chaos.
Very true.
Until next time.